Bonjour.
Welcome. Alright.
Who are you talking to?
No one yet.
Who are you talking to?
No filters this week. We did try. There wasn't any good ones. Or there was some really good ones, but James wouldn't let me.
Cracking.
Beautiful. So, roundup of last week. I was like, what are you going to talk about? So if you haven't listened to last week's podcast, again, it was all about just our anti-challenge challenge and how you can get involved even though you may not be directly involved in the gym. Definitely worth listening to. We won't go into detail about it because we've harped on about it a lot.
I think people just understand that habits and values and lifestyle changes one of our values, like a deep ingrained value for rebuild, health and fitness. I just want to say quickly how kind are people. Every time me and Sean do a post on social media, we get 10 messages from marketers asking to help us. They want to help us, and I just think, why is there just so many nice people in this industry wanting to help us grow our social media? For like only you don't even have to spend a lot.
My mum thinks I'm like a really big deal. Someone commented on my post the other day wanting me to collab with them, represent their brand. And she messaged me thinking I'd made it.
That's brilliant. All right, let's go to it. All right, do you want to talk language first?
Yeah, so I did a post, when was it? Monday, Tuesday. Just so much. Just around on our language. So I think it's one thing that, like, our self-talk is something that we can all work on. Like, our words truly do create our reality, and it massively affects our perception on how tough things are or how easy they can be. So I think for myself, when faced with challenging situations, I always pay attention to how I am actually talking to myself, what kind of language I'm using. Like, if I'm doing like 400 meter sprint efforts, is the language I'm using making something already harder? For the instance, like if I'm working hard, I'm like, fuck this, I'm feeling mega slow today, legs feel heavy, when is this going to be over? Rather than trying to change that sort of the situation in my head to being like, feeling fast, this is easy, another one down, like, and you'll be totally surprised at how much that can have an effect on...
You're doing it anyway, right?
Yeah, you're talking to yourself. It's just sort of flicking that switch.
I saw a good quote this morning. It's like, you'll never be able to outperform your belief system.
Ooh.
You like that?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's not my quote, I wish it was, but I'll take it. And I think there's a law of this, but it's like, it's very easy to find a yellow car when you're looking for one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very easy to follow up.
Confirmation bias.
No, because when you're... Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That it?
That's it, yeah.
All right. Okay, so optimal v suboptimal. Again, I think this is a massive, broad topic, but it's one we as nutritionists, as coaches, get a lot, where it's like people are looking for these like 1%ers, these like little minutiae details in order to get the greatest result, but yet they're not even doing the basics right. They're not even being suboptimal. And then you need to be suboptimal, and then you need to do that consistently. Like you always say, consistency will always trump intensity. Do you know what I mean? It's like creatine, like for a supplement, for example. Oh, what time should I have my creatine? It's like, it doesn't really matter. And again, it doesn't matter at all if you're not training or nailing your protein. Do you know what I mean? People are always looking for optimal when they haven't hit suboptimal consistently. And suboptimal, I believe, is a happier and greater place to live.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like for most Gen Pop people, like anything we try and do around training and nutrition needs to be as simple as possible. So when we are faced with stresses in in our own lives, that we automatically revert back to our habitual habits rather than like if we're setting ourselves just trying to live this perfect optimal lifestyle and training and like recovery. We're not going to do it when things go like, if I have a bad day at work or I don't have a good night's sleep, sometimes just aiming for those suboptimal habits or suboptimal actions is going to be the thing that allows us to keep moving forward.
100%. Like suboptimal, like everyone wants an optimal training program, but people don't show up to their sessions, or they want this optimal meal plan, but yet they'll just eat out constantly and skip meals and not listen. It's like, I get what people want, and it's great to have that education, possibly to know, but the realistic thing is that you're going to do everything optimally is pretty low. And why would you? Why would you? It's not a fun place to live, trying to live sort of completely optimal. Faking strength. Can you fake strength?
No, you can try. You just won't. You just won't.
Iron doesn't lie.
Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons why I've always enjoyed sort of strength training, because you can't bullshit your way through it. You quite simply can or you can't. And in a world where everyone likes to over exaggerate and spin their own little narrative, like being strong or being able to perform, like lift something heavy, there's no faking it. You can or you can't. So anything you earn strength wise is something that you've like truly earned, and I think that's like, pretty powerful. And I know, like, whenever I hit a strength goal, it's very satisfying knowing that I've worked for something and achieved something, rather than, James telling me that he can deadlift 300 kilos, being like, okay, well, prove it. You can or you can't with strength training. I think that's quite cool.
And it's objective.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can or you can't. And I just love the fact that it's like, you have to earn it. Yeah, there's nothing you can do, but you have to earn it. You have to be consistent. You have to lift heavy. You have to work on your strength, recover, everything to be stronger.
Yeah, I think it's just a good all-round lesson for life in general. Like, all good things do take time, and they all come about through consistency and hard work. There are no shortcuts to strength training, unless you want to take a shit ton of steroids. But even then you've got to still work. Yeah.
Well, it's like, I won't mention Ross Edgley in this podcast, in this conversation, obviously. But it's like Matt Fraser as well. Just that the answer a lot of the time is just hard work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hard work pays off. I saw something yesterday which I thought was quite well, so I'm just going to read it out. Where it's like, everyone looks at the cost of a book, a course, or a coach, but nobody considers the cost of being in the same place 1 year from now.
Boom.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think people
like that?
People are always trying to make improvements in life. You don't understand it.
Don't understand it. Well, people will argue about, that's expensive. I'm not going to buy that book. That's expensive. Or that coach is expensive. That course is expensive.
Yeah, so like investing in, like, people are hesitant to invest in themselves, but they're not weighing up the potential negative of being in this exact same position as they are a year later. Just explaining it to Kate.
Yeah, it's just we are speaking.
Don't worry about it.
But
other people might not remember this sort of thing.
But again, even from like a gym or coaching perspective, from a business perspective, we obviously have a business coach, and we put in, it's a decent amount of money, to put in, but the return of investment is what you're looking for. It's not what you're putting in, it's what you're getting out. So again, it comes down to that value v price. But I think if you want to get better at any part of your life, you have to invest into it.
Well, yeah, 100%. If there's one thing you should invest in, it's yourself, whether that be like from an education standpoint or your health. Like, you only get, like, without going too deep, you get one crack at life, so you want to make sure you're doing everything you can to achieve your potential as a human.
Yeah. Yeah, and that probably touches on what the podcast is going to be about this week, in some level of investment. And again, it depends on how much you want to invest to what you're going to get out a lot of the time. So this week's podcast, we're going to talk on sort of personal training, the group fitness, and the pros and cons for both, which I think will be...
It's really quite cool, because we do both. So, and we have worked heavily in the personal training industry as well as heavily in the group fitness industry. So
yeah,
it'll be, I think we'll have some pretty good stories, and we'll get Darius on again to spin some very, very good yarns, which Kate loves.
And I think it's just, there's going to be pros and cons for both, and there is pros and cons for both.
Yeah,
it's not just as attacking one or the other, because like I said, we've done both and we offer both, and both are extremely important, but there is pros and cons
to anything,
to both, to anything. Yeah. All right, quick one. Any last words?
No. Listen to the podcast, share it, share this post. Tomorrow night. Friday Night Lights at the gym for the members who can come. Oh. I'll be cooking barbecue again. Don't bother me while I'm doing it.
Veggie sausages.
You didn't even eat the veggie sausages last week.
You can cook them.
There's 6 veggie sausages in there. Vegan. I bought them for you.
To all dietary requirements.
We don't cater usually to all dietary requirements, but we did for you, and you didn't even eat them.
I'll eat them.
So even if they're out of date, you've got to eat them now.
I'll eat all 6 of them.
Good.
Good.
You heard it here.
Watch me.